Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Michael Ray, and you are watching Celeb Secrets TV.
Celeb Secrets is hanging out here in Nashville, Tennessee. It is CMA Fest, and the first interview of the week is with Michael Ray.
That's the first? We're setting the bar on this one. All right. Well, it's only up from here. So,
Absolutely. So what's going on? How are you?
Great. We've been, gearing up for CMA Fest, like we were saying. It's the first one in a few years, so I think it's going to be probably one of the biggest, probably rowdiest ones we've had, in a long time. Just everybody's excited for music, so we've been gearing up for CMA Fest. Been doing, just kicked off the Lee Brice Tour, the Label Me Proud Tour last weekend, so we actually leave here in a few hours on the bus, so to head out to the next show, our next stop of the tour.
And I know you're no stranger to CMA Fest. I mean, I've seen you for years coming out here at the festival.
Oh yeah. I never got to come here before I moved to town. I'd always see, the CMT or other networks would cover a lot of the footage of it, and I always wanted to, be in country music. I was learning how to play guitar, so I was always, had this fantasy. But then it was called fanfare, so I had this fantasy of fanfare. You know what I mean? All these artists, and I'm like, holy crap, you could see, everybody there. And it's back when Garth, I think, stood for 24 hours or some craziness, and signed for everybody. So I never got the experience on that side. So I feel like now I get both sides, because now I'm an artist that gets to play it, but then I'm also still a fan of country music, So you have people from the 90s, 80s. You never know who you're going to see here still. So now I feel like I got best of both worlds. Now I get to experience on one side of the stage, and then now, but I got a pass now, so I can get in everywhere. So you know what I mean? It's a little bit of better experience sometimes, but so I love it. It's fun.
Let's talk about the radio single right now. It's called Holy Water, right? Mm-hmm. Talk to us, writing, recording process, things like that.
So Holy Water, we recorded when we recorded Whiskey and Rain and the majority of the Higher Education EP. It was all during quarantine, so we did. Everybody, all the musicians were in their home studios. My producer was in I think he rented a cabin in North Carolina with his family. He was somewhere else. Me and my tour manager at the time, who was also an engineer, did my vocals in his front bedroom of his house. So it was not like any other. We were cutting it off during COVID and just trying to, make up for do as much as we can with the time we were given. If we could, we weren't touring, we weren't doing anything else, so we were going to make a record. So this song, though, when it came to us, it checked the box of everything that I wanted for this record. And I miss those story songs in country music. That's what made me love country music. And so I knew exactly. We all felt like we had a big hit on our hands with this song. It was something different. And then when we got it mixed and mastered, got it back, and knew it was going to be a single, we knew that we were going to go. I said, I know exactly where we're filming this. I said, we're going to my hometown. I said, there's this church that my family dates back to the late 1800s, early 1900s. I said, everybody in my family has gone to this church. People still go to this church today. I said, my buddy's dad is now the pastor, trying to keep it going. And I said, and my family, has been, known to run some moonshine through a lot of those woods in that area. And I said, we got to do it there. So it all just really kind of felt really cool. And we were able to, in the video, for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, anybody that has seen it, people that haven't, everybody you see in that video is from my hometown. They're family of mine. They're people that have had something to do with that church. So everybody but the preacher and the one of the deacons. Wow. Those two were paid actors that we brought in. But
that's so awesome. You get to put your personal life kind of into your music. Obviously with songwriting you do that, but I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was cool to see a bunch of friends of mine that we grew up going to that church. So now we all keep up on either social media or text or whatever, but to see them and their families and people to come out and shine some light on some people that are the reason I got to do what I do and moved up here, and they believed in me. And
talking about your hometown and saying that you were kind of all over the world, you're on tour right now with Lee Brice. You mentioned it earlier. How is that for you? That's got to be so fun.
Oh, it's been great. Yeah, it's been awesome. Lee, I've been a big fan of Lee since, hell, he was my song on my MySpace page when I was in middle school. But I love that. I was telling him that. I'm like, 'cause I remember when he had More Than a Memory and it was on his page. Yeah. I was just starting to write songs then and start understanding and YouTube was starting to pop up a little bit, but MySpace was starting to be who's this artist? Oh, this guy I've never heard of, So it became kind of that first wave of discovering artists that you might not hear on the radio yet. Mm-hmm. And so for me, Lee popped up. Somebody had She Ain't Right on record, and I was like, who is that? Yeah. And so I started listening to stuff, and I'm like, God, everything he did is, it was great, and it was just, it spoke to me and my buddies that, that were, just country kids just doing what we were doing, And so I remember when More Than a Memory got taken off his page, and me and my buddies were pissed. I was like, where did it go? It's his best song, you know. Then like 8 months later, Garth Brooks puts it out. I was like, oh,
okay.
that's where it was.
That's why.
That's where, okay, I got it. All right, I won't be too mad now.
No.
Yeah, but it's been great, man. You know, he's been such a great friend to me, and throughout the years, and whenever you go on tour with anybody, it's great. But when you tour with somebody who is one of your great friends, but somebody you also look up to, that you respect, you know, a lot. You really feel like you're in your own little, your own little club. You know what I mean? You just go downtown to town, and it's just fun. It's fun to see, you know, him and his crew. This is his first big headlining tour, you know. So for us to kind of have a backstage pass of the whole thing is pretty cool. So it's been fun. His fans are great. You know, we have a blast out there. I think we laugh more than anything. So it's fun. We have a good time.
Yeah, I feel like you have to make music with him though, and you have to tell him the MySpace story if you haven't told him yet.
Oh, I tell him every VIP.
Oh, you do?
I tell everybody. Yeah. I always tell them, I'm like, listen, kids, you too. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Now, what else is coming up for you? Like, are you writing music for your own projects right now? Like, anything else that you could tell us about?
Yeah, we're writing. I actually got some song meetings today. You know, I love writing songs, but all my heroes cut outside songs, and a lot of my heroes are songwriters too. Yeah. You know, and so Nashville's got the best of the best. And while we're out doing all this craziness and touring and going, you know, these men and women are writing songs every day. You know, and so sometimes, you know, when we're out, or you know, you're just brain dead after 5 days of being on the road and different things and different. You know, interviews or whatever it is you're doing throughout that day, you get home, you're like, man, I couldn't figure out how to tie my shoe, let alone write a song right now. Yeah. Sometimes you just text your buddies that are writing songs, be like, hey, dude, here's what I'm looking for, you know, or here's, you know, whatever. And so we got a lot of songs we listened to, a lot of songs that I've written that I'm really excited about coming out on this record. And should be in the studio here in the next few months. We don't have a set date yet, but it's coming soon because we got great stuff that I've been writing with some of my favorite writers, and then as well as, you know, just songs that are coming in from publishers and other songwriter buddies of ours that are writing, you know. So I'm excited to get back in the studio.
Yeah, but like, how do you choose when you're presented with so many songs? I'm always like curious from the artist side. How do you choose which ones you want to record?
God, it's so hard. It's so hard. Like, because inevitably, here's what happens too. Either you end up writing, or somebody pitches you at the very last minute a song that you're like, crap, this is great. You know, you're like, well, all right, well, we've narrowed it down. We love these 10 or 16. Sometimes, you know, you always pretty much overcut. So let's say we got 10. We love these 10, and then those 10, you've narrowed that 10 down because you had like, your team has gone through 500. You've listened to 100. You've written, you know, 100, whatever it is. So there's, you know, you're going through 1,000 songs to get these 10, and then the last second, either you write something or someone sends something. You're like, all right, who do we vote off the island? You know, who do we get off here? So it's always, it is tough because you got a vision in mind for a record. You got a lot of people that have helped you set this whole thing up, and you know, you've poured your heart out into songs. You've poured your heart out listening to songs that relate to you, that you think are going to be something that, you know, your fans are going to relate to, that'll speak to them as well. So it's difficult. Like it's so stressful, honestly. It's so fun, but at the same time, when it comes down to the chopping block, it can be so stressful. Yeah, because but that's a sign you got a good record too. You know, so you want it to be stressful. You don't want to be like, oh yeah, I didn't like that thing anyway. So it's fun, but then at the counting down to the last days, you're like, oh, did we pick it right? Is that, you know, are we sure that's the right song? You know, so it's a fun, but it can be a stressful process. Yeah.
I know, totally. Now, goals, anything that you want to achieve this year? I mean, you're doing so much. You're touring with Lee Brice. You know, you're playing festivals, going to be releasing music. But is there anything else you really want to do?
Yeah, my biggest thing is just to be out on this, to make the most out of this year, honestly. You know, to being back out, to really feeling like things were before the pandemic and everything, really feeling like, you know, all the shows are selling out. You know, my goal is to get out there, connect with the fans, reconnect with a lot of fans that haven't seen us in a few years, play them the new music, and set us up for a great 2023. You know, and then in there, hopefully, you know, one of my big goals as an artist is to, you know, headline the Ryman, and whenever that happens, you know, obviously becoming an opera member is something I've always is always a goal of mine. But I think after the pandemic, you know, it really adjusted a lot of the ways that everybody thinks, you know, and I think my biggest goal now is just reconnecting with the fans and connecting one-on-one live with them. We've been connecting virtually, which is great, but still that, you know, it's still different. You know, it's not the same as having that live audience, you know, or that, you know, that moment when the lights go down right before the show starts. Just those energetic moments that we all see the behind the scenes parts of it, but it's like those moments. That's what I want to connect with the fans. I want them to hear these songs live that they've been listening to virtually. Come and make memories with us and grow our fan base this year. So next year, we get to kick it wide open.
Absolutely. I mean, the future's going to be bright for you. I just have that feeling.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Well, those are all my questions. Thank you. It was so nice to see you. So nice to catch up.